Good evening and welcome to Netzach Yisrael's daily Kitzur Shulchan Aruch share. Tonight we're going to be doing Siman Kufnun test 159, Dinei Levishas Halibun, the laws of wearing white, Sefiras Hanakim, and the counting of the clean days. Voyot Seifim, and it has 10 Seifim in it. We are going to be doing all of them. I apologize, there is a small. There was a small problem that has now just been sorted. Seif Aleph. Kol Isha, any woman, Sharasa, Dam Bimei Taharasa, that she sees blood in the days of purification. Sricha Limos Chamashim needs to count 5 days, including the day that she saw blood. That is the day that she saw blood. And furthermore, 4 days. So here, these 5 days are the days of purification. Start the moment the woman has her period. And that is what we see talking about here about seeing blood. So the moment the woman has a period, the days of purification start. That day is the first day, no matter when it is during the day, as we will see, and then you count 4 more days. Even if she sees it at the end of the day, after the congregation has prayed, and also she has also prayed the evening prayer or accepted Shabbos in early. If it is still day, this day still counts as day 1, because it goes by actual night and day, not by what you consider it to be night or day, depending upon whether some people pray early or bring the Shabbos in early. And on the 5th day, Le'es Erev, towards the evening, before twilight, she should check herself carefully and wash at least her genital area, and wear a clean white underwear, and the rest of her clothing should be clean, and this checking before twilight on the 5th day of the 5 days of purification is called the hefsek tara, or the interruption of the purification. Uvalayla, on that night, she should spread out over the bed clean kind of bed clothes, and also the pillows and duvets and other things people have on their beds should be clean. And from the next day, from the next day, she begins to count 7, they call the 7 clean days. And it doesn't make a difference whether the woman sees a lot of blood or a little bit of blood. So even if a woman only sees a single drop, or she sees a single drop in the days during the days of purification, she always needs to wait a minimum of 5 days, including the first day she saw blood. Even if she sees blood the entire 5 days, but it stopped before twilight on the 5th day, and immediately after the blood stopped, she is able to stop and to do this hefsek tara, this separation of this stopping of the purification ritual. I apologize before this starting. I should have made a very quick introduction. We've just been talking about the various laws of a woman while she is a niddah, and now we're going to be talking about the laws that appertain to becoming pure again and not being a niddah anymore. So so far with this, it has said that what you do is from the first day of the period you have a minimum of 5 days that are called the days of purification, and then you have another 7 days which are the 7 clean days. And these are what we are going to be discussing here. Seif base, and times of difficulty. For example, she is on the way that she has no water, famine, whatever case may be, the plumbing is broken. She doesn't even have enough water to wash just her genital area. Then the washing does not push off being able to do the hefsek tara. She should clean herself well with whatever she has available. If she's able to wash using urine, then that's also okay. She does not have any white garments. She's also able to wear any other garment. But they should be checked that there are no bloodstains on those particular undergarments, because during the 7 clean days you need to be able to check and make sure that the woman does not have any more blood. Some say if the congregation are praying the evening prayers, even though it's still day, but they're praying the evening prayers early, and in the Jewish calendar, the day starts with evening. So some say that she's no longer able to do this hefsek Torah, and therefore she'd have to start counting that in order that she will be able to start counting these 7 clean days from the next day. Because the congregation have already made its night. And some say that it is still allowed, one is still allowed to do this. Even if the congregation has already brought in the Shabbos, and if some say that she is still, even then she's still allowed to do the hefsek Torah, as long as there's not yet twilight or nightfall. And ideally one should be careful about this, and one should fulfill this. However, in a case where it's not possible, then one should not be stringent about this particular rule. And she is able to do the hefsek Torah anytime when it's not yet twilight. If she has also prayed the evening prayers, if she has prayed or she has accepted Shabbos, even though it's still daytime, then she is not able to do it anymore. It's in the summer. When many communities will still pray the evening prayers early, for example, especially places like England and other places that are slightly farther away from the equator, where they have very, very long days. But that she ideally she should do the hefsek Torah before this, as we have written. When she reaches close to twilight, she can check herself, or she should check herself a second time. Because the best time for it is just before twilight. And however, in a non-ideal circumstance, if she did not do the second checking, one should not be at all particular, and it is okay. Even if she only checked herself right in the morning, and she found that she was okay, but in a non-ideal circumstance, this is okay. Ideally, it should be done just before twilight, but any time on the 5th day, on the 5th day of the 5 days of purification, is okay. A man should teach in his house to be ideally to be stringent. That the hefsek Torah, that the checking for hefsek Torah should be with a cotton pad, a soft cotton pad, and it should be inserted into the vagina for the entire twilight period. But with this checking, this removes any doubt about whether she has stopped having a period or not. There are places, some places have a custom. If the time for her to begin wearing this white clothing that we mentioned at the beginning of the Siman, is on the Sabbath or on the festivals, then we push off the beginning of the wearing white until after the Shabbos or festival. Because not every woman knows to be careful with the transgression of washing and squeezing out washing clothing and squeezing out wet clothing, which are two of the prohibitions on the Shabbos or the festivals and the festivals. And because of that, because we do not want these women to transgress these sins, we say don't wear the white and just wear normal clothing up until the end of the Shabbos or the festival. Obviously, the actual seven clean days will start. This doesn't stop the 7 days starting. And other places, they have a custom to be lenient and say it's fine. If she washes in cold water, she's able to wash even her entire body. But in warm water, she needs to be careful not to wash. Only a genital area and between her legs. And specifically with water that was warmed up before the Shabbos or before the festival. She also needs to be careful from the prohibition of squeezing out garments. In this case, squeezing out towels, for example, that get wet. She should not wash the garments only with her hands. And on the Day of Atonement, on the Yom Kippur, she should not wash at all, because there's a prohibition of washing on Yom Kippur. One should, she should clean herself carefully with a cloth or something. And because it says, as it is early, because it is a kind of a time of need, because it is forbidden to wash. And then she can wear white garments. On the 9th of Av, which is the national day, the Jewish national day of mourning for the destruction of both temples, and also during the 7 days of mourning that happens after one loses a close relative. Also, she should not wash; she should only clean. Also, she should not wear new white clothing. She should wear older clothing that she's already worn, that she's checked to make sure that there's no bloodstains on them. Again, because during the days of mourning, there are rules, or the law is that one is not allowed to wash. The Jewish law is. But after the first 7 days of mourning, after a close relative passes, even though the transgression of washing actually continues for the entire first 30 days after the close relative dies. And close means first degree relative. Nevertheless, she's able to wash a little bit for wearing white, because even ordinary washing, not for this, is more lenient during these 30 days after the 7 days, even though the 7 days is included in part of the 30 days. But so for those last 23 days, the actual transgression is not quite so severe, and therefore there's more room to maneuver. And she's also able to wear new clean white clothing. Every day during the 7 days of that, she counts either 7 clean days after the initial 5 days. She needs ideally to check herself twice every single day. One in the morning and one close to twilight. So and in kind of the minimum standards. Even if she only checked herself once on day 1 and once on day 7, one can be lenient and say that is okay. But that could be and specifically on the first of the 7 days and on the 7th of those 7 days. If she checked herself on day 1 and day 8, she only has day 8. She needs to go another 6 days because it's a day too late, and therefore that now becomes the new day 1. For any practical questions, please kind of go and double check and ask your rabbi. Kol b'dikus elu, all these checkings, bein hefsek Torah, bein b'shiva simin nekim, any checking whether for the hefsek Torah or for the checkings done during the 7 clean days. Needs to be with either white, soft, clean flax garment, or with a gavan or cotton wool, or with a lovan naki barach, or a soft cotton pad. And she inserts it with she wraps it around the finger and inserts it up into the vagina, ideally as far as the husband's penis reaches. And then she checks all of the various, as much of the vagina as she can reach, and then checks it to make sure that takes it down and checks the cloth to make sure that there is no redness on it. However, if she's not able to reach so far in, she should check as far in as she can, and that is okay. But that's at least one checking that should be to as far in as the husband's penis reaches. And virgins should that check before getting married. They should check as far as they can, but to stop before it starts hurting. The checkings need to be during daylight, not at night, not needing any sort of artificial light. And some are stringent even in non-ideal circumstances. If there's not at least one checking on day 1 and one on day 7 during daylight, some are strict even then to say that that's not good enough. If she finds a stain, a blood stain on this cloth on any of the the white underwear or anything during these seven clean days, or even if she actually saw proper blood, she's able to stop to do this, to redo the hefsek Torah, to redo the separation for the purification, ending of purification, and to wear white garments even on that day, as long as it stops before twilight. From the next day, she counts the 7 days again, starts counting from day 1 of the 7 days again. So the difference is that normally if a woman were to see blood on a normal day, then she'd have to count 5 days for purification. However, here, just since it's during the 7 days of the 7 pure days, on the 7 that we count, then in that case, that day she is not counted. The days before aren't counted, but as soon as it stops, she can do the hefsek Torah, and the next day she starts day 1 of 7 again. Similarly, a bride that sees blood before the wedding, and if she waits 5 days from when she saw blood, so the day of the marriage of the wedding will be before the time of immersion in the mikveh, which kind of makes her completely pure and allowed to her husband. And it is difficult for them to push off the wedding. And she's able to immediately begin counting do the hefsek Torah immediately as soon as she stops bleeding. As long as she does it again before twilight, because once it's after twilight, it is then considered the next day. For this, from and to start counting from the next day, 7 clean days. In order that she should be able to go to the mikvah and immerse herself before the wedding. This is much better from getting married whilst she is still a niddah. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good evening.